Hey guys, I'm Desikan, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about products that are timeless. Irrespective of when you purchase it, it is still in trend. It is still a good product, and I don't think these will ever get outdated. And the reason I thought of making this video is because there are so many new launches every now and then. There are so many products going viral, and it's a little overwhelming even for me. And if you are a beginner, I can only imagine how much more overwhelming it would be. And you're like, okay, I just bought this product, but nobody's talking about this anymore, and everyone's moved on to something new. But with these products, that's not the case, and these are like timeless. And I've also noted down as to why I decided to include these products. I just wanted to like reiterate that before we start off with the video. I got some notes as well, so I just wanted to like quickly run it through and then let's move on. So the reason I decided to include these products is because most of these are over a decade old, and brands haven't discontinued them. So it's a big deal because most of these brands are so notorious for discontinuing most of the products. So they are over a decade old, and these products are still trending, still good, still on par with most of the new launches, newer technology in makeup. Brands are constantly expanding and improving the formulation of these. That means that they're still able to sell this. There's still demand for these products. So that's the reason there's improvisation, and it's just gotten better. People still use these products. The user experience with some of these products is just like so nostalgic, and some people just don't want to switch to anything else because the formulation has worked out for them. Some of these products are that good. Most of the times with reformulation, I feel like products just lose their charm. They lose that essence that we were actually using it for. But these products, even after reformulation, I don't think some of them have changed at all. And then the last point that I want to mention is that this is a good thing for the brands, that there's still demand for these products. There's still hype for these products, which means they're not innovating as much, and they can just sell the same thing again and again, maybe repackage it. So yeah, for the brand, it's still a good thing as well. So let's get started. So first up, for serum, okay, a skincare product that I feel like will never get outdated, will never go out of style, and I feel like no matter what other serum comes, at least for me, this will still be there in my collection. This is the Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Serum. I love this for how hydrating it is on my skin, how plumping it is on my skin. It just picks up the skin. Like if you feel like it's dull, it's dehydrated, it looks lifeless, this one just does it for me. And I haven't stopped using this. I've bought backups and backups of this. I want to try out the L'Occitane Immortal Serum. Let me know if that is any good. And then primer, I feel like no matter how many new primers come, the Benefit POREfessional is the best blurring primer I have tried out. I've tried out from Smashbox, I've tried out the Tatcha one, I've tried out so many, but nothing comes close to this. This is what I have on my T-zone, and Pore's it's all blurred out. It's so beautiful. It feels like a filter. If you use this and you have a lot of texture, especially like concentrated towards your T-zone or places where you have pores, this just is so good. I've been using this for a really long time. I got the tiniest size of this, and I use the tiniest amount of this, and it does the job for me. And I feel like these primers are so good and will still be there in the market and still have that demand, I feel like, because of the way they perform. And I feel like even the Smashbox primers are like that, like so many years, and people still like their photo finish primer, their pore minimizing primer. It works out just as good. It's just that I have emptied mine. It was a small tube that I got. And then another primer which I have seen a lot of makeup artists and pro makeup people use is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base from Bobbi Brown. So this has like a priming property as well as something that can hydrate your skin. It has a lot of skincare benefits to it. I like this because it's really nice and hydrating. It gives you a really nice smooth canvas to work on, but do not get the full size of this if you're not someone who uses it every single day almost, because these Bobbi Brown products go bad really fast. So I think they have a shelf life of just a year after you open it, or maybe like 2 years if you want to keep it any longer than that. Like past the expiry date, you can't. I mean, most of us use makeup past their expiry date, but with Bobbi Brown, I think it's like very to the dot and you have to stick to it. So it's such a good product, such a good primer. Still, so many people love this. So many people use it. And then I know there are a lot of dupes for this product, but I feel like it's timeless in my opinion. As many as there are, in the market that is similar to this, for me, this is still unique. It still stands out in my collection, and it's still something that I reach out for. This one is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I'll give you my reason as to why I like this. Okay, it's the most natural looking product. Like, it gives you a little bit of glow, a little bit of highlight, but it looks very natural. And no matter how close you come to the skin, it doesn't look like shimmery. It doesn't look like there's too much of product on. And most of the times, any makeup on top of this just looks 10 times better paired. Like, I have the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation on, and it's a very matte foundation, and usually it wouldn't look this good on my skin, but this just makes it look more glowy, more like skin. It's just so good. You can use this on its own. You can use it on the high points of your cheek, and the shimmer particles in this is so finely milled. It's not a very thick pigmented product, so again, it wouldn't make you look like Tin Man, look too highlighty. It's a nice product. I feel like the e.l.f. one is pretty good, but that's a little too pigmented and can look a little too metallic. But this one doesn't do that. It's very, very natural. Of course, if you don't really have the budget for this, you don't really have to buy this. But in my opinion, there are still so many people using this, celebrities, makeup artists, and all of that, because of this particular reason, that it's very, very natural looking. Like, if you wanted like your skin but better kind of makeup, that is the one. Now moving on to foundations. Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. How many people own this? How many of you still love this? It's a very long wearing foundation. It's like, little goes a long way. It gives you pretty much high coverage and just stays in place, irrespective of the weather, irrespective of how hot it is. I don't even think it needs to set, and it doesn't even transfer, you guys. This is one like transfer proof product in my collection I own, I think. Yeah, it doesn't even transfer. It's the most transfer-proof foundation I own, and there's a reason a lot of people use this for special occasions. It does have an SPF of 10 in it, but I don't think it has any crazy amount of white cast, but it's more like a daytime kind of a product in my opinion, and such a good one. I have this one in the shade Cashew, which is a pretty good match for my skin tone, but I prefer some other kind of an undertone. I feel like this is a little too yellow for my liking, but once I blended it on my face, I don't think you can even make out, and such a good product. If you're living in hot, humid climates, get this size of it and try it out, and you would love it. It just stays in place. But if you have very dry skin, I'm not sure if you'd like it. Another product from the Indian market that I feel like is timeless, and nothing can replace this for me in terms of foundation, is the PAC HD foundation. I know they've reformulated it or repackaged it, but this is the older packaging. I have this one in the shade 2.5, which is a pretty good match for my skin tone. And oh my god, this foundation can never go wrong, irrespective of how your skin is behaving, no matter what the weather is, hot, cold, sweaty, it still looks so good. Okay, and it just looks HD, it looks filtered, it looks flawless, photographs beautifully. I've worn this for so many different occasions, and I feel like there's nothing that can replace this foundation for me and for a lot of people, I think, in the Indian market. Such a good product, such a good one. Good medium high coverage, very long wearing. You can set it, you don't have to set it. Any product on top of that pairs up so well. And another foundation that I wanted to include, but then I was like, because it hasn't worked out that well for me. So yeah, that is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. There's so many reformulations, change in packaging and all of that. I mean, the brand didn't really have to innovate as much, because I think there's still demand for that product, but it didn't work out for me. I feel like it's a little too powdery looking on my skin, but there are so many people who love that, swear by it, and it has become like the shade match next to MAC. Like, a lot of people will be like, oh, what's your shade? What's your MAC shade? But now it's like, what's your Maybelline Fit Me shade? But surprisingly, in both of these, I don't really have a good shade match. In MAC, I've tried out so many shades, nothing matches me to the dot. And same thing goes with Maybelline as well. I find it to be too peachy. So yeah. And then coming to concealers, the MAC Pro Longwear concealers, I mean, if you're a pro makeup artist and all of that, I think you would swear by this. I think you would agree with me on this. MAC concealers are the GOAT. They are the OG concealers. They are so good. These especially have the lightest of consistency. Like, they're thin, spreadable, but very good coverage. Wouldn't crease, wouldn't cake. Don't really have to even set it, but could set it. Very long wearing. The only problem is, the biggest problem is this pump stops working after a while. Like, come on, you guys. Change up this packaging, because it's like not working, and it's not even that old. I have this in the shade NC42 and NC45 for some reason, but I use this like a contouring shade, and both of the pumps have stopped working over time. But this is such a good product, such a good one. I wanted to start using it again, and I started to pump it out, and nothing was coming out of it. And then another product that a lot of people still use, India worldwide. The Maybelline Instant Age Rewinder Dark Circle Eraser Concealer. It's called multi-use concealer now. I have this one in the shade Butterscotch, which is a pretty good match for my skin, but it's a very light medium coverage sort of a concealer. This sponge soaks up a lot more product than desired, and also the consistency of this is very like different sometimes. Sometimes when the weather is a little cold, it dries up in the tube itself, and then it comes out to be a little too matte, little too drying. But now that I squeezed out a lot of the product, it does work out really well for me. So different shades work differently as well. I have the shade medium honey. All of that was so rigid to blend. It was just like white underneath my eyes, and it was so hard to blend. It just stayed there. But this shade in Butterscotch, Caramel, and all of those newer shades work a lot better, and they're a lot more easier to blend. So yeah, good product. So yeah, I like it for my day-to-day usage, but it's not the most long-wearing concealer for me, and not very good in terms of coverage. I feel like the next go-to concealer for everyone should be the NYX serum concealer. That should stay in the market for the next 10 years, and that should be the best concealer, I feel like, in the affordable range. But for me, that's something that I don't know if it was launched a decade ago, but one of the best concealers I still own to date. And every single time I have these raccoon eyes, dark circles, I want something to conceal it and just look so good and not set. Like, I don't want to set it, but it has to look good, long wearing. Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I like it. If you have very dry skin, I'm not sure, you guys. I'm not sure, because there's like, again, polarizing reviews. People love it, people hate it, but I love it. It's what I have underneath my eyes, and nothing can cover the dark circles I have except this one. So pre-pregnancy and all of that, I was willing to try out a lot of concealers. So many concealers worked out for me, even like light coverage, because I was getting that good sleep. I was rested. I didn't have stress. I could just do whatever I want to do. But now I'm stressed. Most of the times. And I don't get good sleep and rest. So dark circles, another level. And then powder to set that, I think the Laura Mercier loose powder. No matter when you own this, this would never go out of style. It's a very good setting powder. It just keeps your makeup in place. It's not for people with dry skin. For dry skin, I think the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Powder should be the go-to. And that was a pretty recent launch, reformulated a couple of times, but a really good loose powder. But this one has been there for so long. People still swear by it. Would work for you if you have very oily skin, hot, sweaty climates. And the Rimmel Stay Matte. I'm not even sure how long this has been there in the market, but one of the best setting powders I own. Oil or sweat seeping through. Just take a puff or something, just press it in. It wouldn't look cakey. It'll just set it so well without tampering the makeup underneath it, and just looks really nice. And when I'm talking like this and so excited, that's how I really talk in my real life as well, you guys. I'm not copying anyone. I can't believe I have to sometimes address something so silly as well. This is the 4th video I'm filming today, and if I don't really speak this way, imagine the lack of energy and how dull the video would sound. So I have to actually sometimes fake the energy a little bit, but this is how I am in real life. I am a little enthusiastic person. If I get comfortable with people, I open up, I speak up a lot better. Initially in my videos, I used to be a little bit rigid. I used to hold back a lot, but I've been doing this for so long that I just feel as comfortable like I am with my people. So you guys are my people. So I don't feel shy or anything anymore. So this is how I am, okay? I'm not copying anyone that you probably have in your mind, because I am probably not even watching that person like you think I am, because I don't really have the time for that. And a lot of content on the internet right now doesn't interest me. So yeah, not to sound snotty, but it is what it is. Anyways, next, moving on to blush. The M.A.C blushes. One of the best. I still to date reach for them. This is the M.A.C blush in the shade Melba. I think this is still one of the best sellers, and Gingerly too, but I don't really have Gingerly. And this is Melba. Look at it. I was feeling like my makeup was looking really dull because I started filming really early on in the morning, and maybe it was my mindset or what, but instantly when I applied this blush, I feel like it was just giving me like a pick-me-up. It just made my face look a lot more brighter, more cheerful. So this is that kind of shade, and it's a matte blush, but it's not too powdery matte, and it just is a very buildable formulation. It's very good product for a very good reason. And I think another blush that we can't forget about is Wet n Wild Mellow Wine. I'm not sure how many of you guys own this. They've changed up the packaging, but this is such a unique shade of a blush. It has a little bit of peachy undertone to it, a little bit of red, very flattering on medium tan skin tones, very beautiful formulation. I think again been there for over a decade and such a good product. Every single time I still use it, I receive compliments. That is how beautiful those blushes are. And then for bronzer, the NARS Laguna bronzer, they have launched different shades in this, because initially they had just Laguna. I think that worked for people of light and light medium skin tones, but now they have Laguna 3, 4, all of that. And I have this one in the shade Laguna 04. Okay, but yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm always very scared of picking up bronzers online because I'm not sure if it will show up on my skin. And this is a really nice bronzer. It's what I have on my face. You can use this on your face, on your eyes, in your socket, crease, and all of that. It's just like a one and done eye look. Beautiful formulation, really nice shade of a bronzer. It's not too cool tone. It adds the right amount of warmth to your skin. The formulation is matte but not powdery matte, and doesn't cling onto the skin differently. So I absolutely love it. And another one has to be the Hoola bronzer. This is the original one, and this also does show up on my skin really well. When I want that subtle bronze cum contour effect, I use this. It's a really nice product, but I like the newer variant of this in the shade Caramel. I think that works out a lot better for my skin tone. And of course, the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. They again have variants of this in a different formulation with a little bit of shimmer, but the Chocolate Soleil one is something I really like, and this would work for people up to my medium skin tones. Anywhere deeper than that, I don't think this will show up on you, but these, I've still been there in the market. People are still hitting pan on this. People are still using this up. I like to watch videos where people are using up most of their makeup and talking about products that I already own, instead of always talking about viral products, hyped products you should be trying out. Try these 5-10 hype products and what is worth your money, what is not. Yeah, sometimes I like to keep in touch and stay in touch with the newer launches and all of that, but I want to use up what I already have, and I like to see people who still go back to their collection instead of always hyping up things and causing that FOMO for me. And then moving on to highlighters. I'm not someone who uses powder highlighters anymore, but if you wanted to invest in powder highlighters, I feel like these two will stand the test of time. One is Becca Champagne Pop. It's Smashbox X Becca, and this is a really nice powder highlighter. It has a little bit of a peach undertone, which works really well for Indian skin tones. It's not too shimmery, not too powdery. It blends beautifully on the skin. And another one that you can try out are the Bobbi Brown powder highlighters. Even though they're powder highlighters, I mean, they have visible shimmer, but they don't look stark and powdery on the face. They look really nice. They're soft and add that subtle shine. And yeah, this is Bobbi Brown. So yeah. Otherwise, you can just use your strobe creams or your Charlotte Tilbury highlighter just on the high points of your cheek, or something that looks a little bit more natural. And then for eyes, the eyeshadow palette of all time. I don't know if this was launched a decade ago, but it's at least easily 6 to 7 years old, I think. This one is the Soft Glam palette by Anastasia. This will always remain in my collection. This will always be one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, and the formulation of this is unbeatable in my opinion. It's so pigmented. The matte shades blend seamlessly. The shimmer shades are really nice. It's what I have on my eyes, and it's like a neutral palette, neutral leaning warm, and you can create a lot of different looks with this. You can keep it like a monochrome eyeshadow look. You can keep like a subtle warm smoky eye. You can do whatever you want, and even if you are a beginner in makeup, you would not struggle with this particular product because it is so good. Okay, it'll just give you that ease of blending and application, and it doesn't dry down that badly like the shimmer shades over time, like my Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes dry down, or even my Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes. All of the shimmer shades have become so rigid. This one hasn't done that yet. And then mascaras, I'm not sure of any one particular mascara that's remained in trend over the past couple of years, because there's been so much of innovation. There's been so much of new demands from the customer end. Like you want something that's lifting, volumizing, lengthening. Back in the day, maybe just lengthening or only volumizing, but now you get the best of both. So I don't really have anything like that, but I feel like Maybelline for years together has been doing one of the best mascaras in my opinion, and I can always trust Maybelline with my mascara. So this is the Falsies Lash Lift. This is not an older product. It is pretty recent launch, I think 4-5 years ago, but Maybelline is one of the best brands to make mascaras in my humble opinion. And second to that, I think, is MAC or Huda Beauty. And of course, there's Benefit Roller Lash that remained in the market for the longest time. This is a good lengthening mascara, I feel like, not as volumizing, and it's empty actually. And Too Faced, Better Than Sex. I don't really have that tube to show you. I think I've thrown it away somewhere, but this is a damn girl mascara. And then lastly, and then a powder foundation. Now, when you think of powder foundation, which is that brand that comes to your mind? It's always MAC for me, at least. This is a Studio Fix powder foundation. And this is such a nice, soft powder foundation. It gives you really good coverage. And you have to hydrate your skin really well, but it works so well for those, no makeup days, or like those hot, sweaty days. A good touch-up powder and everything. MAC Studio Fix it is. There are a lot of dupes in the market, but this still remains a bestseller, a customer favorite for a very good reason. And then moving on to lip liners, I feel like MAC lip liners are still thriving. Chestnut, Cock, all of those shades are so good. But I don't really have most of the shades that are the best-selling lip liners from MAC. I do have some of the iconic Charlotte Tilbury lip liners, which I do really like, but they are on the pricier side. And then for lipsticks, of course, I feel like Revlon. These super lustrous lipsticks have been there for so many years, okay, at least 20 years now. And this shade Rum Raisin has come back to be a lot of people's favorite. I mean, this is a super lustrous formulation. It's a very beautiful shade. And the shade Raisin Rage works a lot better for people of my skin tone or deeper. This one would also work out for you. It is a nice, refreshing shade. You have so many shades in this that you can try out. And then Clinique Black Honey. Like, who knew this would go viral? And again, people would start talking about it. People will still reach out for this. It's a decent product in my opinion, but it's not my favorite. Okay, it's decently pigmented, but it's not very hydrating. It's not very pigmented for people of two-tone lips or pigmented lips. And there are so many other affordable alternatives you could try out. But if you are like, no, I want to invest in products that are timeless, that if I own, I don't really have to feel like I need to buy the next new launch, then maybe these products are those for it. And I also wanted to include this Benefit Bennett tint. Okay, this is not my favorite. This doesn't work again for people of very dark pigmented lips, two-tone lips, because it's very thin in terms of consistency and the pigmentation is not quite there. But if you have light, medium skin tones, I can see this work really well for you. And it's a nice subtle tint that it gives. But for me, I have to use this with a tinted lip balm and then use this for the tint to even show up or to even stay for that matter. And I've never understood the hype about this, but there are so many other lip tints that have always been there. And then for lipsticks, the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipsticks, the Ruby MAC lipsticks, they've got a reformulation and again got back those shades. So those are, I feel like, still timeless. People still buy it. The Huda Beauty lipsticks and all of that are newer launches, but these lipsticks were there for a really long time. I have some of the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks right here if you don't believe me. And I've kept this actually for a dupe video and I have to film that. I should get to filming that very soon. But yeah, so those are lipsticks that you would love and I don't think you would regret. And MAC Ruby Woo is one such lipstick as well. And also, and I can't believe I forgot this category, setting sprays. MAC Fix Plus was used as a setting spray, but this is more or so of a priming mist in my opinion. Like, before you start off with your makeup, use this and then use it, and then use your foundation and base products and all of that. But this is not a very good fixing mist. A good setting spray in my opinion is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. This keeps your makeup in place, and you would just love this. Get a travel size of this like I did, try it out, and then let me know if you like it or not. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is sort of like a different concept of a video I wanted to try out. Let me know if you have any such products, any video ideas in mind. Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to watch even long format videos, let me know, because the engagement is quite low. I'm not sure if I want to continue with this. I've had my doubts, you guys. I've had my own rough times. So let me know in the comments down below. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.